One more. One more. Beautiful. Good. That's what we've got to bring him on to. Nobody can take them.
Had to wear the Kronk merch. Shout out Kronk. So first session is strength. We're basically going to be doing some explosive weights. High intensity, short amount of time. We're working on our sprint systems.
Well, if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute.
Anthony Joshua is training with calm focus as he gets ready for his fight with Jake Paul. His workouts show strength sessions, footwork drills, and controlled confidence as he sharpens his skills. On the other side, Jake Paul is also taking his preparation seriously, working to prove he can compete with a world-class fighter. The build-up shows both men putting in real effort, adding to the curiosity around how this unusual matchup will unfold.
Today. One thing I knew, he was a hard worker. Second thing I knew, genetically he's very gifted, but I knew after the evaluation we had some work to do. Now I've seen his body already evolve into something totally different. I've seen his conditioning evolve into something different, and more importantly, his understanding of his body and why he's doing things the way he's doing them. That's the most important evolution that I've seen.
Inside his camp, Joshua trains with full confidence, knowing he holds a major advantage over Jake Paul. Even with that edge, he pushes himself every day. His goal is straightforward: enter the ring, dominate the fight, and silence the talk coming from Jake once and for all.
The timing on it, that's all that matters.
Because early on, if you look for power, you waste energy, then that power evaporates. When they're tired, you ain't got the power to take them out, so you've got to open up in the gap for no reason. So just relax, flow.
Just pop off
Good
that
feet,
reach.
you were saying.
Just pop off that reach. And any time you move, that should be that, that should be that, yeah? And then the controls down the middle, all right?
Yeah. That's what
Control, smooth, relax, relax, relax. Last minute, mate, that'll do you then. Uppercut. Good. Right hand. Good, good, good. Left hook high. Good. Uppercut high. And again.
Eddie Hearn says the financial offer presented to Anthony Joshua is simply too big to pass up, especially at this point in his career. Joshua has already accomplished nearly everything possible as a heavyweight, so taking a high-paying fight makes sense. Hearn explains that boxing has always been a mix of legacy and earnings, and when a fighter is offered a huge payday with manageable risk, it becomes a smart decision. He stresses that Joshua isn't doing anything wrong, he's making a practical choice. Turning down easy money when it fits with training, timing, and career goals wouldn't make sense for any fighter. According to Hearn, Jake Paul offering such a massive purse has opened a door Joshua naturally stepped through because boxing is a business as much as a sport.
By the ring by Mike Coppinger, that one's in the works and looking likely for December. What can you tell me?
Yeah, not yet. I mean, there has been conversations, obviously. I think it comes down to how true, they are. Jake Paul is that he actually wants to fight. I mean, he's a madman if he wants to fight. But for some reason, and he thinks he can beat AJ. And I have to be honest, we were going to have a run out in December, over 8 rounds against a bloke you've never heard of. And we may end up having a run out against Jake Paul for a career high payday. I don't see how we can turn it down.
When I asked you about it a couple of days ago, you said that at that time you never really got into the financials. Have those been discussed now? Have you discussed the financial element?
Yeah, there has been some conversations around that, and it is, it's a huge amount of money. And I think AJ would be mad if he didn't do it, and I think he will do it if Jake Paul is genuine. We may wake up tomorrow with these people and they've announced another fight. Honestly, anything could happen. So I still can't get my head around the fact that this guy wants to challenge AJ. Listen, respect to him if it's true, but we shall see.
To end on that note, I spoke to Alfie Sharman earlier. He said that himself or DAZN have had no conversations about AJ potentially taking that fight. Obviously, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. What's the situation with regards to that? Because I know they'd want it.
Apparently the fight's done. Obviously, it's not done because those conversations have to take place. I'm very confident that I can have some positive conversations with DAZN. Obviously, we'll be on a clock, but it's a 50-50.
Last one from me. I saw Chris McKenna tweeted that Anthony Joshua currently doesn't have a British Boxing Board of Control licence. Obviously, it's not unusual for someone who isn't fighting currently and is inactive to let it run out. But he would have to apply for one to face Jake Paul again, and then they'd have to approve a fight. Do you think that'd be something?
Experts point out that Joshua has already gone up against some of the strongest heavyweights of this era. Even after being out of the ring for 14 months, they believe the gap in experience between him and Jake Paul is huge. Joshua spent years fighting champions and elite athletes, while Jake is still learning the sport. Although long layoffs can affect any boxer, analysts say Joshua's fundamentals, power, height, and boxing IQ still give him a commanding edge. They also note that Joshua's recent loss doesn't matter much here because the level of opponents he faced is far above anything Jake Paul has experienced. Overall, they believe Joshua's skill set is more than enough to control the fight whenever he wants.
Wrong, right? And just to clarify, I don't class Otto Wallin as a very competitive fight. Every competitive fight that AJ is in from now until the end of his career and has been in for the last few years, I believe has taken something out of him. Every time he's in a competitive fight, even when he's won, and I'm not saying taken out of him to the extent where he's no longer a good fighter, no longer can do anything, but every single one has taken one out of him. So let's say, for example, you go down the Tony Yoka route and you can sell it as the 2 Olympic gold medalists and whatever. It's a lose-lose, mate. You're expected to knock him out. If you don't, then you go the distance. I think that's going to take something out of you. I actually think that this could be better prep for a Tyson Fury fight. Not just
mentally as well, because he smokes him and it looks great, and then he's confident.
This is what I'm saying, right? Not just from a stylistic boxing standpoint, but from the mental standpoint of the fact that if you go in there and you smoke Jake Paul, straight away, all of a sudden, it's headline news, it's massive, and as well as that, you're coming in off the back of something that's impressive, right? We all felt like the Francis Ngannou performance was really impressive, but it wasn't followed up with an impressive performance. So it doesn't actually determine whether or not...
This is worse. This is worse than that. I don't know what you're thinking, Lawrence, but the Ngannou one, you could at least say heavyweight. You could say that his pedigree. So we didn't really... While he was coming from a different kind of method of fighting, end of the day, he's still a champion. We're talking about Jake Paul, guys.
Do you know what's mad? Can I just add something in before Loza jumps in? There are Americans, and I've heard them in the last 24 hours, giving Jake Paul a better chance than Francis Ngannou, saying he has the boxing experience. Francis Ngannou didn't have enough boxing experience. Because that's how Americans view this whole thing.
Well, no, Francis Ngannou did have more boxing experience than Jake Paul.
Well, yeah. But that's what they're saying is Francis Ngannou had 1 fight, Jake Paul's had 10, 12.
10 rounds, and you little say I'm licking his ass. 10 rounds of Tyson Fury, will gain you more experience than everything Jake Paul has.
Adam Catterall strongly criticizes the decision to make this a fully sanctioned fight instead of an exhibition. He argues that putting Jake Paul into a real professional match with someone who hits as hard as Joshua is extremely dangerous. Catterall explains that exhibitions allow safer pacing, but a sanctioned bout removes that safety net. He worries Jake doesn't truly understand the impact of a real heavyweight punch, especially from someone with Joshua's size and background. He questions whether entertainment value should come before fighter safety and believes this matchup crosses into risky territory. His warning makes it clear, facing a former world champion under official rules is nothing like the influencer-level fights Jake is used to.
Over a year.
Yeah.
Brutal knockout against Dubois.
Yeah.
Not the same AJ maybe of the past. He's 36. He's got a chance to earn £70 million, maybe to add to the 150 he's already got. Why wouldn't he do it? Because why would he want to maybe for 5 or 10 million fight a Fabio Wardley who's dangerous, Itoma who's dangerous? Surely from an AJ point of view, it makes sense.
Makes sense. From any fighter's point of view, it makes sense because you're in... Listen, belts don't pay your mortgage, do they? And I know he's got a lot of dough anyway, but 70 million... If someone's going to throw you 70 million quid to fight a lad that struggled and lost to Tommy Fury, you're going to take it, aren't you?
Yep.
So from AJ's point of view, I completely get that. From Jake Paul's point of view, you're leveraging your audience in the world of boxing and making a ton of cash fighting the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. Mate, most boxing fans would bite your hand off at that opportunity, especially if you're throwing 70 million quid in the pot as well. I've no problem with the promoters. My problem is that it can't be a legitimate fight. Let's be dead honest about this, right?
Eddie Hearn said it will be.
Listen, there is no commission on the planet that can authorise that fight. It's a 2-time unified heavyweight world champion, still in his athletic prime. You just said he's 36. We're not talking Mike Tyson age of 50-odd here now, are we? Olympic gold medalist. He's had 13 world title fights as AJ. 13 of them. Against the very best guys.
And could take his head off.
Like he done Ngannou.
It is dangerous.
Yeah.
It is absolutely dangerous. Like I've just said, Jake Paul struggled with Tommy Fury. The levels between these two guys are ridiculous. The commissions cannot sanction that as a legitimate fight. There has to be a rule change. It has to be an exhibition. and then you can have a little bit of a move.
Hold on, Gab. Let's go. Now let's go back to proper boxing. I'm with Cats here. You know, this is ridiculous.
Big story though.
Oh, listen, it's because it's AJ, because it's Jake Paul. It's going to do numbers and capture people's eyes, right? But there's no